Hello, we are recording. I think I've got it figured out. I've gone through 15 minutes and recorded something earlier only to find out that I hadn't recorded it. So this is me, Coach Perry Hunter, starting my podcasts. As far as we go, my goal is to eventually interview basketball coaches that I've met through the world, around the world over the last 10 years. And that's the best case scenario. And maybe we can do something with this. Worst case scenario, I interview my children, my wife, my parents, my in-laws. We get it on YouTube and we have it forever. And people will be able to see great-grandpa, great-great-grandpa, etc. But Cornerstone Hoops, it's a nonprofit that I've started, that I'm in the process of starting. And with the help of Chris Garton, a good friend of mine, we're getting this on the ground. But to get to this point where I'm sitting here in front of a camera with a microphone in front of me and starting a podcast, where did it all begin? And it began with basketball, my love of basketball from a young age, and it grew. I grew up in Henryville, Indiana. The one thing I wanted to do more than anything was to play for Henryville's basketball team, not play for IU or the Boston Celtics or the Pacers, but to play for Henryville. And I got to do that as I grew up and got into high school. And in fact, once we lost my senior year in the sectional, which is the first round of the state tournament, I was devastated, inconsolable. Fast forward about, 3, 4, 5 years. I was at open gym at Henryville, and the head coach at the time, John Bradley, came up and asked if I'd be interested in coaching the freshman basketball team. And it really made me nervous, but I decided to do it. And from there, it started a love affair with coaching and with basketball. Went back to college, got my degree in education, and I'm starting my 30th year here at Silver Creek as an assistant. I've been a coach, assisted at Henryville, at East Washington Middle School, Eastern High School, New Washington High School, Borden High School. I may be forgetting somewhere. I was the head coach at Henryville for 7 years, and now I'm here. This is my 8th year helping out at Silver Creek. We are my 30th year here in the midst of a global pandemic. So looking at this date, and hopefully it'll be time stamped. Then when we started this, we're dealing with COVID-19. Last 2 years ago, we won the state championship here at Silver Creek. Last year, we were ranked number 1 the entire season. And had won the first round of our state tournament, and that's when the tournament was canceled. So we are at the beginning. Now we'll have conditioning here today. It's Monday. We'll have it here in about an hour, some conditioning. We've had open gyms, and we're going to be really good again this year. We have a kid coming back could very well be Mr. Basketball in Indiana, Trey Kaufman, being recruited by top programs in the country. We have another senior, Cooper Jacoby, who just committed to Toledo University in Ohio. We've got a junior point guard that's going to be a Division I player, and we probably have a couple of freshmen that could play D1. But we're really excited, and we think we could be really good. But how did I get to here? Well, coaching, I was the head coach at Henryville, and it was around 2009, 2010 when I was growing in my faith. In 2010, I went on my first international trip to Serbia and Macedonia, thanks to Tane Spasiev, and then went to Iceland the next year with Borja Ilijevski, his invite. And when I went, I'd shared the gospel a little bit, but nothing great. And when I came back, I realized that my international travels and my travels period needed to be about something more than just basketball and my selfish desires to travel. So I started looking into faith-based groups, and I ended up with Athletes in Action. I've gone on 3 trips with Athletes in Action to Indonesia. I was in 2012. I went to Colombia, put on a coaching clinic, and then we went to Africa a couple of years ago in Kenya and Ethiopia. And there's nothing wrong, but the cost of these things, it's expensive to go on these basketball mission trips. And I wanted to continue doing that, but not having to raise $4,000 or $5,000 every time I wanted to go. And I've done a lot of side jobs. Right now, I'm mowing grass for our school, actually. working for Chris Rosio, who was good enough. He got the contract and allowed me to mow. And I'm able to raise money and travel on these trips. I've gone to Australia, Aruba, and put on basketball camps, even though they were also vacations, with the money that I got from there. But I wanted to do this for 10 years, maybe, this nonprofit Cornerstone Hoops, but just haven't worked out being able to do so. And when we went into a lock-in place, one of the things I wanted to do was to start a nonprofit. And that's when Chris Garton, a friend of mine, we got to talking about it. He's a businessman, CEO of Signature Countertops. I just threw it out there, and he ran with it and has been great in getting me started, put me in contact with the lawyer, which I need to send some mailing addresses soon to Devin Sharp, the lawyer. But it's hopefully something that we're going to get going. And then Shane Howard is the one who he's also been very supportive in the nonprofit, getting a website going. And he talked about a podcast. Maybe it'll make some money, maybe it won't, but it's a good way to get Cornerstone Hoops out there. And through my travels over the last 10 years or so, and even before that with coaches, to be able to sit down and talk with coaches and to get what they believe are cornerstones of their life, as well as basketball. And if maybe it's faith-based, maybe it's not, but to get that out there and to share that. Because one thing that I can tell you is that my experiences, I don't want them to be just for me. I want to share them. Worst case scenario, again, it's for my family. Best case, somebody else gets it. So that's what I plan on doing. This is, I want to get some bumper music. I want to get some different things, make this a little bit nicer. But this is the first one in which introduction, and we'll see where it goes from here. But I look forward to interviewing some of our other assistant coaches to kind of get my feet wet, get better at it. And then I'll start interviewing coaches at the high school level, the college level, assistants, maybe some head coaches. And like I said, we'll go from there where we can. But it's been a little bit costly to start this and to get this stuff ready. But I'm kind of excited to do it because just getting this stuff online will be great and will be fun to watch. So the next time I do this, hopefully I'm talking to someone and it's just not me looking at a camera and talking. So I want to come up with some bumper music in and maybe out. And I've thought about a saying or a phrase like this one belongs to the Reds, but I think it's important that Cornerstone Hoops, no matter what you believe, there are cornerstones to life. And the cornerstone to my life, besides my family, is my faith in Jesus Christ. And when I write articles for church or whatever, I love the scripture that greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. And I don't know if that's what I'll close with or not, but just remember that no matter what happens from here on out. Thanks.